5D, come back to the 3D, go back to the astral planes, come back down here to Atlantis. Like, we all over the place. So, again, we appreciate you guys for joining us. Not only do we appreciate you guys, but we love you guys and we value you. This is why we do this. We do this for you guys to bring you guys truth and also to uplift the frequency of the planet. So let's go ahead and get started. V, did you want to go into the cards? I see you already shuffling.
I am.
So did you want to get into the card?
What I do want to say is we should go with conversations and cards, like the intermingling of the two.
Okay.
It's the intermingling of the two. Specifically because I have asked our special guests to join us tonight and they have dropped some messages and they are still down. Oh, I wish you could feel. And for those of you who are energy feelers, I'm sure you are feeling this energy because, baby, when I tell you it is heavy, it is heavy. It is heavy. It is freedom. It's to paint a picture for you for those of you who are more physical. It is that feeling of when you got butterflies in your stomach for somebody, and it's like you see them and you like, ooh, that's my person. It's that feeling right there. That's the energy pool that I have right now. Bestie, you can kick us off, girl. You can kick us off, girl. I'm trying to tell you.
Listen, I was waiting for you to flip a bit in a card.
Because
I'm following your lead.
And I will say this. It's like, I don't know, for those of you who got your Kama Sutra books out and taking notes, please comment. Please comment. There's somebody, well, people from Trinidad. Oh, baby, yes, I have ancestry from Trinidad. Come on.
Come through.
Ooh. But okay, I just happened to see that comment, so I had to say that. But there's somebody that has a Kama Sutra book, and you maybe have not looked at it in a while. Baby, pull that book out. That's going to address some of the things tonight. Because even before I got on rather, I kept seeing the Kama Sutra book, Kama Sutra, Kama Sutra, Kama Sutra. Okay, come on. Mind activity.
Right.
Yes.
Come through.
But
Come through.
And I will say this because we are talking about a blockage tonight. I will say that the first card that came out is the Seven of Wands. So there's a lot of people that's blocked and they don't understand that they're blocked. Because I asked Spirit, what are some of the things that you wish to address tonight? I want those cards to come out. And that was the first card that came out. And I heard blocked. Like, you feel safe, but you blocked. So go ahead, Bestie. Go ahead. Start us off. Because there's something that you're going to say that's already out here on the cards. But I just want you to go ahead and say it.
Because once you get going, once you get non-stop, it's all gas, no brakes. Okay, so now that we got the introduction out the way, let's go ahead and deep dive into this conversation. So we are talking about sexual shadows. You dig? Those unhealed emotional and physiological. Did I say that right?
Yeah.
Physiological. Okay.
Physiological and psychosocial.
Where you at? College, where you at? Okay. The logical wounds that tend to show up in the bedroom. So often without us even realizing it, sometimes these things pop up. So it's very imperative that we are aware of these things so that when they pop up, we know how to address them. And we know how to channel it into positive energy. So when these pop up, it may pop up in the form of trauma, shame, guilt, or old baggage. These shadows can impact our intimacy, our connections with ourselves, and our connections with our partners. and ultimately our pleasure. So in today's episode, my love bugs, we're going to explore how these unresolved emotional issues shape our sex lives, why they exist, and most importantly, how we can start healing them so that we can evolve into more fully expressed, empowered beings. All right, so let's get real and dive in. So, what do I mean when I say sexual shadows? Because y'all freaky. I know it's some freaks in the house, okay? So when I talk about sexual shadows, I'm referring to those parts of us that are hidden. Okay, when you think about a shadow, you can see a shadow, right? But it's hidden exactly what figure is it? Is it a woman? Is it a man? Is it an ape? Like, what exactly am I looking at? It's a shadow, but I can't quite make it out. So these things are often buried in our subconscious mind. And if you remember a couple episodes ago when I told you guys about the subconscious mind versus the conscious mind, the subconscious mind, you guys are not conscious of. It's things that happened to you guys once upon a time ago. Things that you guys maybe have tried to forget, but everything is captured and kept and programmed in your subconscious mind. So you never forget anything that has ever happened to you, no matter how many times you have reincarnated. These memories, these thoughts, these experiences are kept in your subconscious mind. Your conscious mind are things that you are conscious of. I'm conscious of the fact that I'm cold. I'm conscious of the fact that I'm black. Like these things that you guys know off the rip. You know what I'm saying? But the subconscious things that you may not be conscious of. All right. So these things influence how you experience sex, how you experience relationships. And these shadows come in the form of trauma, shame, guilt, unresolved childhood issues, and even societal conditionings around sex and intimacy. So it's like a part of us that has been repressed or neglected, so to speak. Neglected. And it shows up in ways that affect our sexual expression, desires, and ability to connect with others on a deeper level. So it essentially hinders us. It caps us. It makes us feel like we can't go past this certain level. Okay, so it hinders you to reaching your full potential sexually. So you gotta address it so that you guys can get to that level that you need to get to. So for example, you may have grew up in a family where sex was never discussed openly, or maybe you were shamed for expressing yourself freely sexually or your sexual desires. So these types of experiences, while they may seem distant or minuscule, they basically shape the way you look at sex. And they also have a way of embedding these certain theories in your mind to make you think that this is how things are. This is how you should think. This is how you should behave. Okay, and they create emotional blocks that impact how you freely show up as your true sexual self in today. And these shadows don't just hang around our minds. They are basically manifested into our physical experiences. And they might show up also as sexual anxiety, a form of discomfort during intimacy, or in the way that we react to certain sexual situations or our partners. So if you've ever felt like something is off, but you just could not put your finger on it, this may be you encountering a sexual shadow. And this may be something that you guys will have to look deeper into to see where those thoughts, those experiences, and those notions are coming from, basically. Okay? So how do you know when your sexual shadows are showing up? Well, the first step is to notice the signs in your behavior. And this comes from knowing thyself, which is why we preach until we are black and blue in the face about knowing yourself, knowing your limits, knowing your non-negotiables, knowing your sexual desires. Listen, this is a judgment-free zone. You need to know what you need, what you desire, what you want. This helps you essentially know what you want out of a partner. There's no shame in that. Your body, your emotions, knowing yourself. And honestly, these signs can be really like subtle, especially when you don't know yourself. Okay, this is why it's important to spend time with yourself to understand, and understand who you are to the core. So one of the biggest indicators is sexual anxiety, like having anxiety around sex, like being like almost nervous to perform, or almost nervous to even think about the thought of performing. Like say you never performed before, just having anxiety around thinking about performing. Like that's anxiety, that's stress. Mm-hmm. These are your shadows that follow you. Or like the constant pressure to feel like you need to be perfect in bed. Nobody is perfect in bed. Nobody is perfect. Even these porn stars, nobody is perfect in bed. And they have just completely whitewashed what true intimacy is, which is why I always advise people not to watch porn, because it's fake. It's fugazi, it's fabricated, it's not real. It's not real intimacy.
And it's bad acting.
Horrible acting.
Horrible
rotten tomato acting. It's not true intimacy. And so, these are standards that you guys do not need to live up to, because you're living up to fake, fabricated standards anyway. This may also come from feeling like you have to live up to past experiences, even if you feel like you'll never get that experience or you'll never be able to perform at that level. Like comparing past experiences, don't do that. Everybody is different. You'll never get the same experience from different people. You may, but everybody is different. Everybody is different. So don't feel like you have to live up to the standard that you had with this person over here, or the person that you're with has to live up to the standard that you received from that person. Everyone is different. And so this often stems from you carrying this tension into your intimate relationships. You're carrying these things in your subconscious mind, not even knowing. It's like baggage, like mental baggage that you're carrying around from relationship to relationship, or situationship to situationship. Another sign could be emotional disconnection. Like you're in the act, you're performing fine, but you're emotionally disconnected from the act. And if you're with someone who's in tune, they're going to know if you're emotionally disconnected from what's going on. Even if you sweat and you huffing and puffing, someone who is tapped in is going to know whether you are mentally, physically, physically you're there, whether you're mentally and emotionally connecting to them while you're in the act.
We'll get to that.
And if they don't,
we had a question. I said, but we'll get to that too.
Oh, we'll definitely get to the questions. But listen, just let me get through it, and then we'll get to the questions. Because trust me, we both can answer them from our different perspectives. So it's like when you're emotionally disconnected from it, it's like you're there physically, but you're mentally or spiritually someplace else. Like your mind is just like in the clouds, in the astral realms. Mm-hmm. You're detached, basically. And this can happen when we've experienced trauma or experienced emotional wounds that can make us retreat back to, going into our shell, or not wanting to be open and vocal about what's really going on with us. Okay? Mm-hmm. Which in fact just really messes up intimacy, because that person doesn't know why you're acting this way. And essentially, because it's buried into your subconscious mind, you don't know why you're acting this way. You just feel uncomfortable and you're just ready to go, because you haven't dealt with your subconscious wounds. So then we have what I call, which I researched heavily before I brought this information to y'all, the freeze response. Okay, so the freeze response is when your body feels tense or basically just shuts down during moments of intimacy. Okay, this is when you just feel like you just need, like your entire nervous system just shuts down. So you don't know what's going on. Your partner's freaking fuck out. Like you're frozen in time. And this can come from also unresolved issues, unresolved trauma, and emotional pain that you haven't dealt with, which has caused a freeze response. Like your body literally goes into a self-protection mode, and you feel like it's fight or flight. And you're not even like you're not even yourself. You're completely like having an out-of-body experience. So this is the freeze response. And this last one that might be tricky to some of you guys, is like repeating unhealthy patterns. So if you're noticing that you keep attracting partners who are emotionally unavailable, or maybe you're constantly finding yourself in relationships where you feel rejected or misunderstood, this is often another sign of unhealed wounds. And your subconscious mind is essentially playing out this unresolved or these unresolved issues from the past. So in retrospect, it's really you dating the same person just in different bodies. You find yourself dating the same type of woman just with a different name, or the same type of man just with a different name. So this is what we call repeating unhealed patterns, okay? So last but not least, how do we heal? How do we heal these sexual shadows? Okay, so now that we know what they are, the sign, what to look for, the first step to healing is awareness. Being aware is half the battle. You now know that it's an issue and that you need to rectify the issue expeditiously and get to the issue so that you can find a way to stop it from happening so that these patterns do not keep repeating. You can't heal what you don't know is there. So when you're self-aware, you understand that there is a problem here and that you do need to rectify it so that this doesn't become a pattern down your bloodline, because that's what essentially happens when something is not rectified within you, especially if you were chosen one. If you don't rectify a problem, that shit is passed on to the next generation, and then from that generation, the generation to come. So if you want to nip it in the bud and just eradicate it out of your bloodline, heal. HEAL, exclamation point, heal.
Hold on, and I want to expound on that too, about knowing yourself. That also understands the different forms of sexuality, and understanding and accepting that is who you are, right? So a lot of people, they when people start talking about sexuality, they often think about the normal heterosexual, homosexual, different types, but there is things like sapiosexual. That's you're attracted to someone by their intelligence. And then there's demisexual, like you have to build some sort of a connection with the person before you can even involve yourself sexually. And I identify as both of those, as well as, but those things help me to understand or put a name to how I was feeling. And we often say that, I often share that this with my spirituality, right? I knew that I was doing things, but I didn't know what to call it. I didn't know what to look it up until I had the vocabulary for it, right? And that's, and understanding that part of yourself, what you are attracted to, will help you understand what type of sex that you'll be in tune to, right? Because not everybody is made to just go out and as we used to say, I don't know what the younger generation is saying now, but we used to say, hey, this person smashed somebody the other day, right? And we hear the people that, oh man, I had about 4 or 5 people and I just smashed over the weekend, that's all I did, and da 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 da. All right, but not understanding that how it's making an impact on them internally, because some people are forced to develop that habit and some people are naturally just sexually active. If we think about Scorpios, you all have the most sexually explicitness with you all. I don't know what it is about you all. I don't know. It's just when people say Scorpios, they like, they overly sexual active. Like that's the sexual sign. That was the first thing when I first started learning zodiac. That was the first thing I heard. Scorpios are overly sexual, and it's because of there is something in your, I was about to say DNA, but I guess it is your DNA that just gives you that overdrive sexually. And it's become a stereotype. But then I also know that there are also some Scorpios who are like, that's not me. And I'm like, really, and having that conversation, they'll say, I may think about it, but that doesn't mean I want to necessarily act. So then that means you have to understand yourself. And that's why, which leads me to my next topic, kind of relating, is that's why it's important for someone to explore your sexual needs. If you don't understand what turns you on, what makes the light come on for you, what makes you scream, then you're going to be lost. And there's certain reasons, there's certain pressure points in the human anatomy that allows us to experience things on a deeper level, which is why oftentimes people, I have often heard the saying that, women who do not women who do not reach their peak, let's say that, um they don't know what it is until somebody actually makes them reach that peak, right? And then when someone makes them reach that peak, that's all they want. Right. And it's because she may not have known what it was. She may not have known what it was to really and truly have that orgasm until that person touches them on the inside part and had her scream their name. I heard cancer too. Yeah. Yeah.
Love it.
Because and hold on, because I did see something else, the fact that I'm watching the guy say smother. Oh, that's too funny. But
Oh, love it.
the thing is, like, that's why I love Dr. Ruth. May she forever rest in peace. But when we were in college, she broke it down about sexuality, about toys, about the pleasure principles, about the pleasure, uh, oh gosh, pleasure points in your body, right? And it's you have to understand it. She was the one that taught me about the tailbone. And I'm just gonna leave it at that, because we all have a tailbone. So, and I was like, oh, so that's what that, okay. Just, and so, and then on another side, exploring with your sexuality, and we kind of hinted on it a little bit. I want to say last episode about masturbation. Like, that's a part of exploring your sexual needs and your sexual urges. You have to know what's your pressure point, because if not, if somebody else find that pressure point, they can easily prey on you, because they'll use that, and then you be like, oh, I didn't feel this before, and next thing you know, you just opening yourself and giving yourself to anybody because they have found your pressure point. They and I know this is kind of getting a little bit into date rape and not whatnot, but that's why you're not supposed to drink. You're supposed to watch how the person make your drink. You never leave out your drink, for fear and consciousness of being drugged, right? Because if you consume it and this person already know your pressure points, they're gonna get you inebriated. They're gonna play on your pressure points, and you just gonna give it up. And now they will have their way with you. And now they would do other things and get inside your head, get into your space, take your resources, drain you, and zap you. This is how people prey on people. And so if you understand that, hey, I don't need you to touch my elbow because I'll be ready to jump your bones. When somebody gets a little bit closer to them, you be like, hey, you're fine, but just don't touch me here. And that's all you have to say. You don't even have to tell them, because you rub it on my spot. You making me hot, right? What we used to say, hot and bothered. You're making me hot and bothered, right? But it also goes to understand, like, what is your type, and the type of people that you date. What is it about them that attracts you? Because now you have to understand, you have to know yourself in ways of understanding why you were attracted to that person. Why are you attracted to that thug when you know you don't need a thug in your life? Not everybody was meant for a thug, right?
Thug love.
But there's so many people that I know, they be like, but baby, if he got on Tim's, and if he packing, if he doing this and he doing that. And I'm like, but you say that you want somebody that's peaceful. If he's somebody that's gang banging on the street, that's the complete opposite of peace. So what do you want? Do you want peace, or do you want this thug? Like, help me understand. And understanding your needs and your wants, and understanding why you are attracted to that thug. What is it about your life mentally that attracts you to uh what's the word I want to use? Conflict. That's the word that came up, conflict.
Chaos and confusion.
Chaos and confusion. Come on. And so um so that's why you have to understand. That's why they said, like, there's sexuality, there's mind games that people can play on your mind. What is it? Shout out to Eve. Love is blind and it can take over your mind. She said those things. And then it's like, at the same time, what do we call love? What is it that we really call love? Is it because this person has sexed us down good, or is it something about them that truly draws us? And so, a part of my meditation, this was the first thing that came out, because I said, okay, I want to go back to the beginning. Let me talk to Eve. What do we say to the people about sexuality? And the thing that came up for me, that came to me, was that you have to understand, as the first person on the earth, what we know as the first person, right? Because that's where my mind is going. They had to explore the body to figure out, what does procreation look like? Why am I feeling this way when this person touches me? When this person puts their lips here? When we hug, why do I have this reaction? The first human had to explore. So now when we telling people don't explore because it's wrong, why? Because the first people had to explore in order to understand what needs to happen.
Right.
We all were children once. We didn't know what we knew what playing house was, because we lived in the house. But then when we got older, that's when the people had to teach us about sex and watching, you don't touch people there, you don't do this, you don't do that, or and they always say, or you're going to get pregnant, because that's all they want to talk about was pregnancy, right? But they didn't talk about pleasure. And so now we're starting to have those conversations about pleasure. And then we also must understand that, especially for those of us that's in America, we have the history where our ancestors in America were raped and abused. So all sexual experiences weren't the same. And we have to understand that we carry generational traumas. And that leads us to another topic, domestic violence. This on last month for us here in America, we celebrate, or not really celebrate, but we make aware on domestic violence. Domestic violence is a mental thing. It's a sexual thing. And when that person can control you by sex, the reason why, and this is one of the things that I kind of read up about when talking about this topic, is that the reason why it's so hard for somebody to get out of of domestic violence situation is because it's a mental thing. Now let's think about, now we're talking about sexuality, but we're also talking about the pleasure principles and how it affects our mind and our shadow self, right? If we don't know certain things and someone starts to caress us and touch us in different places, and now we're trapped, and we like, oh, but this person, they feel so good, they treat me so good, and I didn't know I never knew that a touch could feel this way, right? Um, and so now I'm invested physically. My body is yearning for you while you're talking to me, getting into my head. And so now I'm mentally and physically attracted to you. So now when you're beating me, my mind is like, but wait, this is pain. This isn't the love that I feel. But then after you have beat me, you come and kiss me on my neck and make me feel good. Now my mind is like, but wait, it's pain, but there's pleasure at the same time. It's pain and then there's pleasure. It's control, but the person makes me feel good, right? And until we are able to get to that point where we can say, okay, I'm going to disregard what I'm feeling and I'm gonna start listening to my mind, because my mind is telling me that I gotta run. My mind is telling me my body cannot physically take this anymore. And then that's kind of
Right.
like when the wake up part happens. That's why it's so hard for people to say, "Oh, well, just make a police report on this person." They can't, because they're mentally and physically confused. They're like, "But this is the person that's giving me what I'm yearning. This is the
Right.
person that's feeding me what I feel like I need at this moment in my life, right? And if I don't know how to stop it, then I'm just going to be in this cycle until something happens to wake me up. So this is why, and this is my sex education side coming out. This is why I tell people, like, this is why we have to have conversations. We have to have open conversations and stop having it about sex and sexuality and exploration. We don't need to keep it private, because eventually your children are going to get into that space. And if they've never heard you talk about these things, then they're going to have to explore. And that's how often, like, a lot of people fall into traps and things early on.
Mhm.
Yeah, I was just reading the
And
comments there. Yeah.
let me come in because you mentioned something that was profound. I didn't even know that. I don't even know if every state honors this, but I know that mental abuse is just as detrimental as physical abuse. And certain states will honor mental abuse as high regard as domestic, because that is essentially an abuse. If you are consistently mentally abusing someone, like over the course of time, that
Exactly.
deteriorates them. And that
Exactly.
deteriorates their mind, which in turn will deteriorate their body. And then being able to make a sound choice to leave that situation. And I pinned your comment, my love, because getting addicted to feelings is like dopamine. Like, it is a drug. It
Mm-hmm.
is a drug. And if you get addicted to the wrong feelings, it's hard to get off of that.
Exactly.
It's incredibly hard to get off of that.
Exactly. And and also, this is how, I know we're talking about it, but this is how, and I promise y'all, I'm gonna bring it full circle. Ashley know how I do. She knows how I do it. But then that's when we have to start having a conversation about sexually transmitted diseases, because, mind you, I just revealed or kind of shared, sexuality is also a mental thing, and some people get addicted to it. Like, what, getting addicted to the feeling is like a drug. I just gotta have it. Some people are literally like, I don't know what's wrong with me. I just gotta get me some. I have seen it, and I'm looking at them like, oh my God, like, didn't you just have sex last night? With, like, cool it. Go drink some water and sit down. Right. But the thing is, even with working in this field, like literally my career, working in the realm of HIV and sexually transmitted diseases, I have seen so many people that have HIV, AIDS, uh, chlamydia, gonorrhea, all of them, right? I literally have met people with that have experienced all of them, right? The main thing that I have seen is that there is always something surrounded mental health and sexuality. Always, with every case. Well, I'm not going to say with every case, but for I would say the repeat offenders, because I used to test and I would see people over and over and over again. And I'm like, okay, I just tested you last month. The window is every 3 to 6 months. What's going on? Let's talk. And so we had to assess them. And the thing that always came out is that it's something mental that's going on. Whether the person felt extremely lonely, whether the person felt inadequate at home with their person, so they stepped out. Whether it was, I'm just trying to hold up my status quo. Why do you feel like you have to hold up your status quo sexually? That's a mental thing. That means that somewhere down the road, somebody has made you feel like you were inadequate in life, and now you're trying to overcompensate with it, and you're using your body to overcompensate. That's unhealthy. And now you keep contracting a sexually transmitted disease and having a fight with your girlfriend, and that's unhealthy. And now you're like, man, I just need to go with somebody else. No, my brother, no, my sister, no, my sibling. You need to go get your mind, go inner. Go ahead and find out what's a part of your shadow collection that's saying that you need to do this thing, that you need to continue to have sex, that you need to overtly share your body with somebody who's not for you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. The two go hand in hand. The two go hand in the mental awareness and being self-aware and being in love. Like, you have to be self-aware to understand what you are requiring from this partner. You have to love yourself enough to know when you love this person enough to where you need to now let them go, because you've done all you can.
Exactly.
You can't love them back to life. Although that is what these movies have portrayed, that's what love is, sticking it out until you got literally one braid of hair left on that head. That is not honoring yourself. That's
exactly.
Not valuing yourself. That's not loving yourself. You have to nourish yourself back to life, because how are you pouring from an empty cup? That's counterproductive. That's an oxymoron. You can't love someone back to life when the life force within you is depleting every time you pour into this person, every time you pour into this relationship, every time you pour into this energy vampire. So be mindful of what you're focusing on, what you are giving your attention to, because what your attention goes to, your energy follows. This is a life force that is priceless. Energy is like melanin. This is priceless. This is prime real estate. If you let people live in your head rent-free, live in your energy rent-free, be mindful of that. Sometimes it takes making the same mistake enough times to where you're sick of your own ish and you're fed up to a point of no return, and you're like, you know what? Now I know exactly why I didn't revisit this relationship. I didn't revisit this conversation. I didn't revisit this situation. Sometimes it takes making multiple attempts, multiple mistakes to realize what you don't want anymore, what you won't compromise on. So I had a couple more, and then I'll wrap it up, because I know I'm just itching to hear these cards, honey. I had a few more. I'm not sure if I touched on therapy, but you definitely did when you were talking about being mindful of going within. That's therapy for the soul. Yep. Being mindful of your own indiscretions, your own unhealed wounds. That's therapy. Of course, you can seek an outside trusted source, but going within, you'll never go without. So that is therapy for the soul. Being mindful, that kind of goes hand in hand with being self-aware and self-love. That should have been first. I cannot emphasize how this journey has been focused, how my journey especially has just been focused on self-love, and how that has gotten me out of so many situations that my love for someone else would have had me stay in. When you have self-love, it's like an alarm clock that no matter how many times you hit snooze, it's going to keep going off until you realize that you need to love yourself enough and more than you do love the situation and the feeling you're getting from the situation. It's the ultimate form of self-healing, loving yourself, the ultimate form. And there is no right way to be sexual, but when your desires are valid and your body deserves to experience pleasure without shame, that's when you know that you are honoring yourself and you have fully stepped into your higher self, your 5D. You have officially left the 3D plane and you are stepping into your higher self. That's when you know, when there's no shame behind your sexual pleasures. No one can make you feel shameful about what you desire, what you are desiring, because guess what? What you are desiring is desiring you. What you seek is going to seek you. You get what you give. So if you embody the energy of truth, honesty, realness, you're going to get that in return. You're going to get that in return because that's the energy that you're exuding. So exude what you want to get in return. And I guarantee you the universe, God, whoever you answer to is going to give you that full circle.
Right.
And last but certainly least is communication. Whether you're single or in a relationship, being open and honest with your partner as well as yourself is the key to solving everything. Boundaries is also key. We've always talked about boundaries, having boundaries in every situation. You can never go wrong with boundaries because people that don't respect them, there's a door, exit stage left. Okay? When you speak your truth, this is creating more space for you for healing, which is in turn deepening the intimacy that you're having with yourself. And it may feel vulnerable at first. You may feel alone. You may feel like you're out on an island by yourself. But the more you practice it, the more it becomes a part of your natural rhythm. And that is all I have for you guys. I'm ready to hear this card.
So listen. Yes. So there was a few other messages that came to me. So the first, and I was like, okay, so how you want me to start this off? They said, start with the music. You got to listen. So there was three people, at first, that spirit dropped down, and they were like, and I said they because it was multiple people talking. They said, if you look at how Little Kim came out, if you look at Megan Thee Stallion right now, and if you look at Eartha Kitt, they all were women that were making statements of their time. And it's like they're going to give you sexuality. They're going to give you that shock factor, but also tell you, but I'm in control of my body. I'm in control of what I present to you. I'm not just giving it out. I'm going to tell you what I'm going to do. And I can get you in your head and make you think on these things. But when it actually comes to it, you're going to want me more so than I'm going to want you. I'm your pinup poster. And you're going to come to me. But when you come to me, understand that it's more to me than just my sexuality. So that's all that was coming to me, right? And then I began to think of other people. Of course, Marilyn Monroe came to mind. They wanted to call her the slut of Hollywood. Men lusted after her, right? And she used that to her advantage. But then, as I was getting ready to move on, Alicia Keys dropped in the head, and I was like, Alicia Keys, but she don't really. And Spirit said she does a lot of the intimate part of sexuality. And when you get to that intimate part of sexuality, when you do have sex, it opens you up even more. It gives you that firework experience in the bedroom. But at the same time, it means that your mind was already freed. Because when you get to that mental level of intimacy and you're really intimate with the person, and there isn't like any type of unwarranted conditions, that sex, it will go on a whole nother level. Like I shared this with the person. I was like, listen, I don't know what it was between us. Like, and we're good. We're good. Like nothing bad happened between us. We just lost touch. So I just want to say that out. And if you're watching this, yeah, I'm putting our business out there for this point. But anyway, I kid you not, we were levitating. And I said, what? I was like, we were levitating. And the person looked at me like, what are you talking about? I was like, when you removed your hand, I fell on the bed. We were levitating. And I said, that's on some other ish. Like, I was like, because listen, I don't just be flying in the air. Okay? Because if so, baby, I'm on my way to point me to the nearest island. I won't need a plane ticket. I'll just fly myself. Me and my clothes will be in what is it? I don't know. So I'll say San Juan, Puerto Rico tomorrow, But so there's like this when you are that intimate with people, it's like you have a different experience than when you just get, oh, Jody, just come over here and when you gonna link up because I heard you got that good. Like
not Jody.
Right. Jody from around the way that everybody know.
Okay.
But I mean, and let me say this. If this is what Jody chooses to do, that is Jody's right. I'm not shaming, but hey, if you're looking for something different mentally with somebody when it comes to that, you got to build that connection. Cancer is right here. You can't see it. But I just happened to see that. But also, I don't know if that's a Cancer thing, but I was going to say, but that I just can't have sex with anybody. I gotta have that connection. There's got to be some sort of an attraction there, because if it ain't, baby, I guarantee the body shuts down. My throat closes when it's had enough food. When my body said you don't need to eat nothing else, my throat will go, and I'm like, and almost choke on the food, and I'm just like, okay, well, at least let me swallow this. Let me get through this, like unexpected. And so that's how much you have to be self-aware when your body is literally saying no to somebody, because that's your first warning sign, like, hey, I'm picking up a red flag. We don't need to do this. We don't need to experience this person. And that's your body way of protecting you, but also saying, unless you're trying to go back to that unknown place, that that dark space, please don't go there. Because the other thing about the shadow side that I read is that we have to understand that the shadow side is mainly stuff that we don't know about ourselves.
Right.
If we don't know that we why we react a certain way around certain people, then we're going to always just react, and the people are going to be like, okay, I've never met you. Why are you treating me like this? Right. But when you figure it out, you're like, oh, now I know how to address it. Now I can say it's okay to be around this person, or no, it's not okay to be around this person, but you don't have to act that way. Right. This is where we get into these things. And I showed you all the first card. It's that blocked energy, right? That I'm holding my walls up against you, like, because there are certain people that's like that. Why? That person now has to understand why. Many times it is because that person was raped or inappropriately touched. And then sometimes you'll see the opposite. You see the person that want to be just like Jody and be the person that everybody comes to for all their needs and wants. Okay? So, who are you on that fence? We each have to be balanced in every area of our life. So even with sexuality, we have to be balanced. The next card that came out is the Emperor. And I was like, why the Emperor? That we have, right. Ironically, we have laws in this day and time where people want to control how other people explore their bodies, right? And that is why the Emperor card came out. It's like, and it's not only laws, but it's people. Like you could have a family, and I want to say that you mentioned that earlier, um, about family members. Like you could have been born in a family that doesn't really talk about sexuality, right? So it's like you have certain questions, and you're trying to figure out, okay, but do I go to my family or do I go to my friends, or do I just get on Google and look it up? And this is why I said we got to have the conversations, because you have to understand you can do things, but you have to do things in a safe way, in a way that's going to protect you and protect the other person. And when people are controlled um, by an emperor, whoever that emperor is, be it a male or female, that person is now, they freeze up, and they're like, I can't go to this person. Those are the people that's more prone to be raped, because that means that that person is going to freeze up when somebody touch him there. And it's like, and as much as I love this movie, when I most recently watched it, I said, oh wow, that's what that is. And it's the women of Brewster Place.
That's my favorite movie. You know that.
Yes.
That's my favorite movie.
Okay. But it was that scene where Oprah's character froze when that guy touched her, because she had never been touched. And her parents had never taught her about sexuality and about sex and about getting pregnant. So when but he did, right? So when he touched her, she's like, oh, I've never been touched this way before. Like, what happened? And he's like, oh, well, you're my girlfriend now. And she's like, okay, if this is how this works, okay. And now she's trying to figure out, well, all I did was hug my boyfriend. I mean, yeah, we took off our clothes, but we just hugged each other, and and it was so good. And and she had her son, right? And then it's like, as she got older, she got the wisdom of it all. But at first she was that green apple. She didn't know what was happening. And so that's why you can't control other people's sexuality. You have to let them explore, but in a safe way. And you have to have that conversation. You have to teach sexual positivity to everybody. The next card that came out was the Knight of Swords. And I said, what are we running from, though? What are we running from? Why are we guarded and running? Because we already saw that we were guarded here. And it's just like, no, I want to go now. And I must say that every time I pick up this card too, some people are truly like, no, I want to save my purity. And so that is fine. We are not talking about you. We're not pressuring you to have sex. We understand that you have that guard. But when this one came out, guarded and running, I said, why are we guarded and running? And it's because some people have this autonomy. I had to get clarification cards. And so I said, okay, I had to remind myself what autonomy was. And it says the right condition of self-government. And then it says the capacity of an agent to act in accordance with objective morality rather than under the influence of desires. Meaning this is that person that I just talked to with the purity. There's something about me, you don't get a piece of this. until I say that you can, right? You don't get a piece of this until we get married, because that's what I choose to do and not what somebody made me do, right? And so it's I'm not, for that one, it's not that I'm running away from you because I'm scared. Is I'm running away from you because I don't want to be tempted, and I don't want you to get me out of character. I don't want you to make me do something that I don't really want to do. So I'm going to run away from you because I recognize you as my weakness. I recognize you. You gonna make me buckle. And no, 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 no. Then the next card that came out was Hood Love, Community. And I said, okay. And it's like, for some people, it's like that's that Jody around the way type of spirit. I'm running to any and everybody. And there's a guard. I have a guard, which is why I don't want a relationship. But I want to be touched at the same time. And we have certain people. I know I have a friend here. And he told me, he was like, I just don't want a relationship. I don't think I'm made for relationships. And I was like, and that's fine. And so a lot of people look at him, they're like, he's a hoe. And I'm like, no, he says he doesn't want a relationship. And he has conversations with the people. I have witnessed this. He has conversations with the people first. But if they're on some, I just want to bang and get my fix, he's like, okay, well, we can do that because I already know that I don't have any expectations, and you're presenting to me that you don't have any expectations. So we can do that. And I say, and you have the right to, because that's you're already saying that you don't think. And another thing is because of his career. So he's like, I can't settle because I'm always traveling for my career, and I don't want nobody to wait on me. So I'm like, so he has thought about this thing, right? And so he recognized that he may be a person that's for the community, but within limitations. So there's that guard there, right? I don't, who said act three? Because I just heard it plain as day, act three. But this card is spirit, and it says act. Sometimes in the sexuality, if somebody is, let's say that they're hiding something from you. Let's say that they are hiding an STD from you. And all of a sudden you're there, and all of a sudden you get this gut feeling like, I shouldn't be here. I don't know why. And this person is tricking you. Or fellas, somebody tricking you to put on a condom, right? But they punch holes in it because they're trying to get a baby out of you. Like I've heard of stories of these things, right? It's that same type of energy. And it's like, so when you get this gut feeling, like I said, like we were saying earlier, once you are self-aware, truly self-aware, when your body starts to react in a negative way, you like, nope, I got to get out of here. Cause I got that feeling in my stomach. And that feeling never lets me down. So, and it's like, oh, I don't care what you got to do to make up to get out of that person's home, or to get away, or to stop having that conversation. Maybe text your friend and be like, hey, bestie, I need you to come over here and wrap your arms around me like we together. Don't ask no questions. Bestie already be like, okay, I got you. And come over there and be like, yo, what's up? What's up? I missed you. Mwah. Do all the things. When you got a good best friend, I promise you, that's what we do. That's what we do. but it keeps you away from the trouble, your trouble, your and temptation. And then for others, I'm in this category. So I was just like, oh, really? That's why they ran away. This card is also signifying that sometimes people have to run away from you. And when I say this card, I'm talking about the Knight of Swords here. Sometimes it's people have to run away from you. Why, you may ask? Because you a starseed. You are an addiction for this person. You are making them see their truths. And when they start to see themselves, because the thing about a star seed is a star seed will show you your shadow self, period. That's why we have the twin flame relationships, because one person is mirroring the other person, whether they know it or not. And until they figure that out, they're like, oh, I got to work on me some more. And then that's when they start going through that dark night of the soul and getting this shit out, right? I heard shit, so that's why I said it. But the other thing about it was, I thought it was ironic that Yemoja is here, and she is the mother of the Orishas, and that's one of my consults, because I asked her, I said, I need you to come. Why? Because you are the mother, and that means that when you are the mother, that means you had to go through some sort of a sexual experience to touch your belly overwhelmed. Shout out to Lauren Hill, by what you have been chosen to perform. And though an angel came one day, told you to kneel down and pray. Oh my goodness. You've been touched by an angel, and wah wah wah. Now you are carrying another generation within you. Sexuality is not bad. Sexuality opens you up. It allows you to understand what it is like to become a mother. That is your first lesson from being a mother, is understanding how this baby was created. This was not on my list. This is a new download, by the way. You're when you can look at your child and you remember where you were in a good space with whoever that child's other parent is, right? You understand that you two came together and made a wonderful experience out of being sexual and in tune with each other. That child has characteristics of you both, and yet that child is that child's own individual person. But there are aspects of that sexuality, that sexual energy that created that child, that helped that sperm meet the egg. It is something about the push and pull, and I'm seeing the moon as I say this, because I've often heard that sexuality mirrors the ocean, but it's something about that pulling and the pulling of the waves and the motions in sexuality that makes things happen, like the creation. Oh wow, I'm really seeing like like the creation of the earth, right? Like I'm seeing it, because it's like, we know that the earth has a lot of water, and this is going into another topic, but I'm just going to say it short. The earth has water everywhere, whether you can see it or not. And most of the time, most of the time, the land that we're on was a result of water being pushed away. And I'm thinking about the Grand Canyon, of how they said that used to be underwater, and that's why the grooves look the way it does, right? So I'm just going to say that. The last card that came out, and I'm still halfway, I don't know what to say, but sexuality, when you deal with your shadow self, and you start and your sexuality start to do what it's supposed to do. I know on our last episode, I said I was talking about how sexuality opens you up. It opens that third eye. Helps you become aligned, right? When that happens to you, what happens is that you become a star in somebody's eyes. Six of Wands energy. And not only do you become a star, that sexual energy helps you to become a star in whatever field you are in. And I say that because, again, Eartha Kitt, Little Kim, I just heard Little Mo. Okay. It's like that sexual energy helps them create the content, helps them do the videos and the movement, right? Huh?
Adina Howard.
Okay, come on.
Scorpio.
Okay.
Scorpio.
I said big. I was about to say Big Dean. Come on. Like it's like, baby, because I've explored my sexuality, let me talk about the sexual liberation that I have. And baby, I'm gonna put it in a song. I'm gonna put it in a poem. I'm gonna put it in a book. I'm seeing the third eye and of course the color purple. I can share these things with you because I have felt it. I am being inspired by this moment, right? And I mean, let's be honest. We have famous people, and they're only famous because they had sex. I'm just gonna. They had sex. A tape was leaked. And now they're famous. And it's like, and then we also have people that's in the porn industry, right? You help them pay their bills by going to the OnlyFans websites and things, right? And so when we talk about sexuality again, we have to talk about all the aspects of it and how it is a mental thing. So yeah, I'm reading your comments. Where I am originally from North Carolina. Originally.
But want to be friends, follow us.
Yeah, he said, y'all, I need to be you guys' friend. So that's why I was like, okay.
Follow us.
But that's what we have to understand. And that also brings me to who I was saying, like I was saying, like I was trying to tap into Eve a little bit, and I asked her, as Bastet, I asked Yemaya, I asked Oshun, ladies, come to let me know what it's all about. I even asked, I talked to my ancestors and I was like, hey, ladies are from this family, this family, this family. I need y'all to talk to me about this thing. So that's probably where that child came from. They probably jumped in because I was like, this was not a part of my plan. But also, it's important to understand that that's why it's important for women to, and this is on my box, women to handle their own bodies, right? Because the woman's body has been like a sexual object. Like men and women will prefer to see the woman's physique over like on in public, like, and maybe that's because it's been ingrained in our minds from a male dominated society. That could be a reason why too. But it is like, it's this thing about seeing a woman's body, even if she's in lingerie, it is something about the woman's body that eludes sexuality. And it even is better when she is fully awake and aware of what she likes, who she is, who she wants to entertain, even if it's in the learning stages. Okay, I'm going to try that, but I'm not going to try that. Thank you. Because I was like, it's something else that I'm leaving out. And they just show me a dominatrix. So when we're talking about kinks and things and BDSM and all that, it's a part. What was revealed to me, and I never looked at it like that ever, is that even with BDSM, right, it is something about someone telling you yes, telling you no, but at the same time, you understand it's creating a system for you to control yourself, to control your urges, to understand what you like and don't like. But it's in that physical format. It's the same as, I don't know why this example is coming to mind, but it's the same as Catholic school. That's what I'm saying. Catholic school gives you that structure. We're gonna do things like this. We're gonna do things like that, and then, or I shouldn't even say Catholic school. I should say private school. That's what it's the difference. The structure is different from a private school than it is with a public school. That's always been a fact. And so it's like that's what how BDSM is. It's giving you that structure and that same format because you can't just do what you want to do. You have to be given permission, and that is teaching you to give yourself permission to do things as opposed to just doing things or letting things happen to you. Yep. So that's my presentation.
Oh, listen, I ain't gonna lie, I ain't even gonna hold you. I got my notes right here because you were talking that talk, baby. I was like, as soon as he pulled them cards, I know like the cards are gonna pretty much be just the basis of the conversation, but he's gonna always go within, and I'm gonna get so many gems. When you just start letting go and letting God come through, literally, like
I told you. I'm telling you that message was right in my stomach. I was like, oh my goodness, it's overwhelming. I gotta get it out.
But I knew it was gonna come through that way because see, when it's a topic that everybody can relate to, even if you haven't even done the do. It's just about knowing what you would want.
Exactly.
What your body reacts to. Anybody can relate to this. That's why this topic was so needed, and it was so imperative for me to bring this to the collective, or for us to bring this to the collective, because I just feel like the more you know, like the more you can grow. Each one teach one, reach one. So even if you haven't, reached the pinnacle, you still can teach yourself what you want and show yourself what you need once you get to that level. So what time is it? What time is it? It's time to ask B. Yeah, I wanted to come up with something that was more creative than just talk to B. So yeah, I got a little song behind it. So it's time for one brave soul to ask B anything. Love, career, money, and beyond. So is anybody ready to dive deep? Be on Front Street. Don't hold back. Stay away from the personals, okay? This is a question that y'all want to know about you, not about me, and not about me. So do we have one brave soul? One brave soul that wants to ask me anything love-related, career, money, and beyond. This is the time for you guys to shine. And while you guys are trying to figure out if you do want to come forward and ask me a question, excuse me, let me just tell you guys that if you're not subscribed to the channel, or that channel, I keep thinking I'm on YouTube. If you're not subscribed to me or to B, please, well, I don't think you have a subscription going on yet, but I know I do. So if you're not subscribed to this page, you're definitely missing out, guys. You are definitely missing out. Here we heal, we grow, we support one another. And here you will find recipes for group work, my favorite frequency hit list. This is a community of like-minded individuals. So if you haven't already, what Tria say, get down. Stay to the house, get down and subscribe. And also you can check out my B's page on YouTube is Healing Room Tarot. You can also subscribe to his channel. Guys, the more we get this message out, the more YouTube, social media just controls this algorithm and more people can be reached. So you guys help us, help you.
And I was going to say what I just dropped was also, I just created an Instagram Healing Room Tarot page so I can do things like that as well. Yes. So I'm telling you, I'm being pushed to do a lot more, and I'm just like, okay. So yes.
Everybody go follow this page right now. Healing_room. _tarot. This is where you guys can find everything tarot, and I'm sure your direct link to your services will be also added to this page as well. So definitely check that out. So I see a lot of people coming on. Again, this is the time of night where you can ask, be anything, love, career, money, and beyond. Is anybody going to step on Front Street and be a brave soul to deep dive into tarot, to anything that they want to know? Do we have a brave soul tonight? Anybody? And also, quickly, guys, when we do upload this, please make sure that you like.
Yes.
Please make sure that you are following. Please make sure that you are commenting, because again, this helps the algorithm so that we can get this message out to more people.
And what the superstars say, they be like, run it up, run me those hearts, bring it up, run those numbers up.
On YouTube, as well as I'm seeing this a lot more, excuse me, with Instagram, anything that tries to promote, educate, or influence people on the natural way to do things and self-help and things of the likes is kind of getting like pushed to the side. So that's why we need you guys to make sure that you are showing YouTube that these videos are vital. They're a necessity, okay? It's imperative for us to make sure that we're showing them that people are watching. Because I know it's not a lot of people that can get on this time of night, regardless of where you guys are.
Right.
You know, but I know as soon as that video uploads, it's literally 100 people are watching it as soon as I upload it. So that means that you guys are definitely, you kicking it with us, okay? You may not be on now, but once we press upload, you guys are definitely there. So we appreciate that. So go ahead and show us some love. If it's 100 people watching, we need 100 likes, okay? The math ain't mathing. Where y'all at? So,
where you at?
Anyways,
where you at?
So nevertheless, it's okay. You know, sometimes we don't get a lot of people that want to come forward and, you know, put their business out on Front Street. So we thank you, B, for all the insights that you gave us with the card readings. And those of you guys that are having issues with trying to figure out if you should do this, if you should try that, if you should even attempt to do that, keep trying on shoes. Eventually, you'll find one that fits. And always remember, love is what love does.
Yes.
If you ever find yourself in a situation where you're like, I don't know where I should go, what I should do, love is what love does. Always remember that. And peace is profitable. You can make money off of doing things. No, positivity and peace is profitable.
Yes.
You can make money off of doing things that are high vibrational. Don't ever let this system, this matrix, let you guys be fooled that you gotta do this to get to that. Yes, there are levels to this, but if you are living in your purpose, peace and positivity are profitable. All right?
Yes.
So that concludes our show. This is the 38th episode, I believe, Bestie?
I believe it is.
I think we're 38 episodes in. We're almost 40 deep, going strong. Yeah. So thank you guys for rocking with us. Almost 40 episodes in. We appreciate it. We love you guys and we value you guys. And again, like, we do this for y'all. So just let us know that y'all there. Let us know that y'all rocking with us. That y'all feel us, that y'all hear us, that y'all are watching us. And we'll continue to bring you guys all of these priceless downloads. So that concludes tonight's Cards and Conversations. We will see you next week. Same time, same place. Cards and Conversations, where every episode unfolds a deck of intriguing discussions. We love y'all.
Peace. And thank you all, as usual, for joining in, and good night. And make sure you follow me on Instagram. I have put it in the chat. and it's healing_room_tarot. Thank you.